Over the last 25 years, the NHL has been filled with unforgettable duos. Some were built on telepathic chemistry. Others combined grit and skill. And a few helped create full-blown dynasties, piling up MVP trophies, scoring titles, and Stanley Cups along the way. In this video, we're counting down the top 10 NHL duos of the last 25 years. From twin brothers who seem to read each other's minds, to powerhouse partnerships that terrorized opponents for over a decade. These are the combinations that defined franchises, dominated scoreboards, and left their mark on modern hockey history. Ranking them wasn't easy, and chances are you'll disagree with at least one spot on this list. Let's dive in. You might argue that Henrik Sedin and Daniel Sedin had a built-in advantage when it came to chemistry. After all, they are identical twin brothers. But what truly set them apart was that both were elite NHL players who spent their entire careers together with the Vancouver Canucks, an accomplishment that's rare in modern hockey. Their connection on the ice often looked almost telepathic. The Sedins seemed to instinctively know where the other would be, threading passes through traffic and setting up plays that few duos could replicate. By the time their careers ended, their scoring totals were remarkably close. Henrik finished with 1,070 points, while Daniel recorded 1,041, despite Henrik appearing in 24 more games. Consistency defined their era in Vancouver. With the Sedins leading the offense, the Canucks became a regular playoff team in a tough Western Conference that often ran through powerhouse clubs like Chicago and Los Angeles. Their run to the 2011 Stanley Cup Final against Boston showed just how dominant they could be at their peak. Falling a single win short of the franchise's first championship remains a painful chapter in Vancouver's history. Despite the criticism they often faced from rival fans, the Sedins' brilliance and impact on the game were sometimes underappreciated simply because they never captured that elusive Stanley Cup. From the 2005-06 season through 2018-19, Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry formed one of the most punishing and productive duos in the NHL with the Anaheim Ducks. Their games complemented each other perfectly. Both played with speed, edge, and physicality, making them especially effective in the bruising style of the Western Conference. They didn't just intimidate opponents with heavy hits, they also piled up points at an impressive rate. Over the course of his career, Getzlaf climbed into the top 20 in NHL scoring since the 2000-01 season, a remarkable feat considering he retired in 2022. Perry, meanwhile, has continued his career beyond that point, still frustrating opponents with his gritty style of play, living on the edge physically and planting himself in front of the net to disrupt goaltenders. Whenever teams prepared to face Anaheim during those years, they knew it would be a difficult night. If Getzlaf and Perry weren't delivering punishing checks, they were creating offense and scoring momentum-swinging goals that could change the course of a game. Their impact together was extraordinary. The duo helped lead Anaheim to a Stanley Cup championship in 2007, and during the 14 seasons they played side by side, the Ducks missed the playoffs only 3 times, while also reaching the Western Conference Final on 3 separate occasions. Sometimes even the most dynamic partnerships in hockey eventually come to an end. For more than a decade, Steven Stamkos and Nikita Kucherov created some of the most memorable moments for the Tampa Bay Lightning. From the 2013-14 season through last year, their chemistry produced countless highlight reel plays and helped bring 2 Stanley Cups to Tampa. Both players have a knack for making scoring look effortless, though they do it in different ways. Kucherov relies on dazzling puck control, creativity, and a lethal shot, while Stamkos has long been known for one of the most feared releases in hockey, especially from his spot on the power play. During the 11 seasons the 2 stars shared the ice, Tampa Bay established itself as one of the league's most consistent contenders. The Lightning missed the playoffs only once in 2016-17, and even then, they fell short by just a single point. Year after year, the team entered the season as a legitimate championship threat, and they ultimately delivered back-to-back Stanley Cup titles. Although those seasons were played during the unusual circumstances of the pandemic era, it doesn't diminish how dominant Stamkos and Kucherov were together. Someday, Stamkos' number 91 will almost certainly hang in the rafters in Tampa, and when the time comes, Kucherov's number may very well join it. Those Lightning teams were stacked with talent, but the partnership between these two superstars was a huge reason the franchise remained a constant contender for hockey's biggest prize. The partnership between Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand often felt like the NHL version of a classic good cop, bad cop routine. Bergeron earned universal admiration across the league for the way he played the game: smart, disciplined, and elite at both ends of the ice. His reputation as one of hockey's most complete players was cemented by 6 Selke Trophy wins as the league's top defensive forward before he retired in 2023. Marchand, on the other hand, built a very different reputation. Outside of Boston, fans have long loved to hate him. His relentless edge, willingness to push the limits, and occasional habit of crossing the line made him one of the league's most aggravating players to face. Ironically, the more opposing fans dislike him, the more Marchand seems to thrive on it, especially because his elite scoring ability and playmaking make him impossible to ignore. Together with the Boston Bruins, the duo helped anchor one of the NHL's most consistent contenders. Surrounded by stars such as Zdeno Chara, David Pastrnak, Tuukka Rask, and Tim Thomas, Bergeron and Marchand were central to Boston's success for more than a decade. Their era included a Stanley Cup championship in 2011, additional trips to the final in 2013 and 2019, and 3 President's Trophies in 2014, 2020, and 2023. From the 2002-03 season through 2015-16, the duo of Henrik Zetterberg and Pavel Datsyuk struck fear into opponents and provided endless highlights for fans of the Detroit Red Wings. Together, they formed one of the NHL's most complete and dangerous duos, blending elite offense with exceptional two-way play. Both players were capable of taking over games offensively, whether by finishing chances themselves or setting up teammates. Since the 2000-01 season, Zetterberg ranks among the league's top scorers, sitting 25th in total points, while Datsyuk isn't far behind at 29th. Zetterberg built his reputation on efficiency and intelligence with the puck, consistently finding ways to generate offense in tight spaces. Datsyuk, on the other hand, dazzled with creativity and puck control, regularly leaving defenders off balance, with the kind of dekes that became nightly highlight reel material. What made them especially difficult to play against, though, was their defensive excellence. Zetterberg's relentless forechecking disrupted even the league's best offensive teams, while Datsyuk possessed a remarkable ability to lift sticks and steal the puck before opponents even realized what had happened. Their brilliance was a huge reason Detroit remained one of the NHL's model franchises during that era. With legends like Nick Lidstrom anchoring the blue line, the Red Wings reached the playoffs every season and even battled the Pittsburgh Penguins in back-to-back Stanley Cup finals in 2008 and 2009, capturing the championship in 2008. From the 2005-06 season through 2016-17, it became almost impossible to picture the San Jose Sharks without the longtime pairing of Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau. Once San Jose acquired Thornton from the Boston Bruins in 2005, the Sharks suddenly had the first 2 selections from the 1997 NHL Draft leading their offense, a combination that quickly paid off. Thornton made an immediate impact after the trade, capturing the Hart Trophy as the league's most valuable player. Together with Marleau, he formed one of the NHL's most reliable offensive partnerships, consistently producing goals and points year after year. During the 12 seasons they shared the ice in San Jose, the Sharks established themselves as a perennial playoff team, missing the postseason only once in 2014-15. The very next year, they reached the first Stanley Cup final in franchise history, though they ultimately fell to the Pittsburgh Penguins. What makes their partnership even more impressive is how long it spanned. Thornton and Marlowe competed across multiple eras of the NHL, facing stars from different generations. From players like Joe Sakic, Brendan Shanahan, and Paul Kariya, to modern superstars such as Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, Connor McDavid, and Leon Draisaitl. Despite the changing landscape of the league, both remained among the NHL's top offensive producers for much of their careers. A big reason Alex Ovechkin has been able to score goals so consistently for the Washington Capitals is the presence of his longtime center, Nicklas Backstrom. Ovechkin's remarkable scoring ability often grabbed the headlines, but Backstrom's vision and passing made him the perfect playmaker to set up those goals. Since the 2001 season, Ovechkin has climbed near the very top of the NHL scoring list, amassing more than 1,550 points and over 850 goals. For most of that run, Backstrom was right beside him, helping him drive the offense. Ovechkin entered the league in 2005-06, and 2 years later, Backstrom arrived in Washington, quickly forming a partnership that helped turn the Capitals into one of the NHL's most dangerous offensive teams. Backstrom eventually surpassed the 1,000-point mark before injuries forced him away from the game last year. It's unfortunate he hasn't been able to remain on the ice alongside Ovechkin during the latter's chase of Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal record. Still, their greatest achievement together came when they helped lead Washington to its first Stanley Cup championship in 2018, a moment that cemented their impact on hockey in the nation's capital. Washington's path was often complicated by fierce rivalries with teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Rangers, which frequently stood between the Capitals and deeper playoff runs. Even so, the chemistry and success Ovechkin and Backstrom shared over the years ensured their place among the most memorable duos the NHL has seen. It may not seem surprising to see the NHL's most explosive scoring tandem, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, ranked among the greatest duos in the modern game. Still, when you consider the accomplishments of many legendary partnerships that came before them, it's remarkable how quickly the Edmonton Oilers stars have built their case. And with several prime seasons likely still ahead, their legacy could grow even larger. McDavid stands in a category almost entirely his own. His speed, playmaking, and ability to dominate games have made him the defining player of his era. His performance during Edmonton's run to the Stanley Cup Final last season only reinforced that reputation, as he repeatedly took control of games and showed that his best hockey may still lie ahead. Because of McDavid's brilliance, it can sometimes be easy to overlook just how extraordinary Draisaitl has been. Yet, he's an MVP in his own right and one of the league's most lethal offensive threats. With a powerful shot, especially on the power play, and a consistent ability to pile up goals and points, Draisaitl remains one of the NHL's most dangerous scorers. At this point, the only achievement left for the duo is capturing the Stanley Cup together. After coming painfully close last season, it increasingly feels like the championship that would define their era might only be a matter of time. In the NHL, success is measured by winning, and few pairs delivered victories as consistently as Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane during their years with the Chicago Blackhawks. The center-wing combination played a major role in Chicago's dynasty run, helping the franchise capture Stanley Cups in 2010, 2013, and 2015. Toews brought a complete two-way game that made him one of the league's best leaders and most dependable centers. His ability to control play, create chances, and shut down opponents complemented Kane's dynamic offensive talent. Kane's creativity, quick hands, and knack for scoring made him one of the NHL's most dangerous attackers, giving Chicago a lethal 1-2 punch that opposing teams often struggled to contain. Kane's agility and ability to create space made him the perfect partner for the highly intelligent and disciplined Toews. Off the ice, their personalities seemed very different, but on the ice, their chemistry worked perfectly. During the stretch from the 2007-08 season through 2019-20, the duo helped make Chicago one of the most dominant teams in the league. If not for fierce competition from clubs like the Los Angeles Kings, the Blackhawks might have added even more championships. Still, the sustained brilliance of Taves and Kane made their era one of the most memorable in modern NHL history. When Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin became teammates with the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 2006-07 season, after Malkin arrived from Russia, it seemed obvious they had the potential to form a dominant partnership. What few could have predicted at the time was just how long their success together would last, stretching close to 2 decades. Over that span, Crosby has accumulated more than 1,600 points, while Malkin has surpassed 1,300, placing them among the most productive duos in NHL history. Both players have spent their entire careers in Pittsburgh, combining elite talent with longevity as they repeatedly tormented opposing teams. Their success together is reflected in the Penguins' championship runs. Crosby and Malkin reached the Stanley Cup Final 4 times, capturing 3 titles along the way. Crosby earned the Conn Smythe Trophy twice as playoff MVP, while Malkin claimed the award once. Their individual accolades mirror that balance, as Crosby has won the Hart Trophy twice and Malkin once as the league's most valuable player. Each of them has also led the NHL in scoring twice. The one major award Malkin owns that Crosby never captured is the Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year, an honor Crosby narrowly missed in 2005-06 when Alex Ovechkin took home the prize. For years, hockey fans became accustomed to seeing Pittsburgh regularly featured on national broadcasts, often in intense matchups against teams like the Washington Capitals. At times, it felt repetitive, but in hindsight, those games showcased something special. 2 generational talents sharing the ice at the same time. What makes their story even more impressive is that neither Crosby nor Malkin appears close to the end yet. After nearly 20 years together, they continue adding to a legacy that already ranks among the greatest partnerships the NHL has ever seen. And there you have it, the top 10 NHL duos of the last 25 years. So, what do you think of this ranking? Was there a duo who deserved a higher ranking, or a duo who didn't make the list? Let us know in the comments.